watching Inside OSU Basketball with John Helsley. I'm Mike Sherman, and joining me from Stillwater to talk about James Anderson's decision to leave Oklahoma State is the Oklahoman's OSU beat writer John Helsley. John, what are Anderson's NBA draft prospects?
Well, I think we're talking about anywhere, Mike, from, say, 9 to 17 or 20 in a lot of the mock drafts. He's a mid-first-round guy, it looks like, at this point. Still a lot to be determined. He's still got to go through a lot of pre-draft workouts and that sort of thing. But I think definitely a fringe lottery guy.
John, one of the knocks on James among NBA scouts, particularly entering this season, was his defensive play. How did he address that this season?
Well, if you listen to Travis Ford, he addressed it in a big way. There were a lot of games where at some point during the course of play, James would find himself on the other team's best offensive player, as long as it wasn't a big post man. And at times he did get down in the lane and help out because they weren't a big team. But I thought he played really well defensively this year. He works hard on defense, which is a bonus for him. I think that's an aspect that he can address as you get into some of those pre-draft workouts.
With players like James, we're always looking for comparisons. One NBA scout compared him to Nick Anderson, whose 13-year NBA career included a trip to the NBA Finals as Shaquille O'Neal's sidekick. John, what kind of pro do you think James Anderson's going to be?
You know, I think he's going to be a real handy pro. I think he's going to be a guy that can score. He added the ability to drive the ball and be kind of a slasher this year. I think body control is a plus for him. You know, when Bill Self was asked, who does James Anderson remind him of, he threw out the name Paul Pierce. And so I think that's a pretty good comparison in James's favor. We've also heard a little bit of a James Harden with the Thunder, for a guy that people in Oklahoma City will be familiar with.
John, there's a looming labor dispute between NBA players and owners. The collective bargaining agreement ends following the 2011 season, and if there's a lockout, it looks like the 2011 draft class might have to wait a while before cashing its first paycheck. Did any of that play a role in Anderson's decision today?
We asked James about that, and he said it was definitely one of the things that he and Travis Ford talked about. I think if we got behind the scenes a little bit, we'd find out that that was probably a big factor. I think James is ready anyway, and all signs had pointed to him going to the NBA. But when you throw that bit of information in, yeah, I think it would be crazy not to come out.
John, finally, James Anderson, a guy who averaged 22.3 points a game this season as a junior, Big 12 Player of the Year. What is his legacy going to be at Oklahoma State?
I think it's going to be really strong, Mike. I think top 5 would be a good place for James. I think you've got Bob Curlin, Byron Houston, some other guys in the mix there. But I think when you think about what he's done here as a 3-year guy, not a 4-year guy, as a 3-year guy, he already ranks 4th on the school's all-time scoring list. He would have shattered that if he'd come back for a 4th year. He did everything for a team, really with a lot less talent surrounding him as all the other players that would be in the conversation. So I'd say you could really comfortably say James Anderson was one of the 5 best players to ever put on a Cowboy uniform.
Thanks, John. That's all for this edition of Inside OSU Basketball with John Helsley, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day it is okay, and every morning in the Oklahoman.